The issue of violence against women is clearly an affront to all South Africans. Apart from its devastating impact on the individuals that are affected and their families and their friends, it undermines our effort to build a caring society in which the rights and the dignity of all are respected and upheld. If we are to succeed in overcoming gender-based violence, we need to understand and effectively address its causes, and we also need to implement measures to reduce the potential for gender-based violence and ensure proper support for survivors and others as well. The National Development Plan aspires to create a society where the women and the young girls in our country can walk freely in the streets of our nation, and children can play safely outside. The Integrated Plan of Action to Fight Gender-Based Violence 2013 to 2018 therefore aims to transform attitudes. It also aims to transform practices and behavior. It aims to ensure better access to support services for women and children at risk, and to provide long-term care and support and empowerment services for survivors of violence. The plan aims to ensure that women and children are better protected from violence through a strengthened system with supportive legislative, policy, and institutional frameworks that has adequate resources, as well as organizational capacity, and also it must have comprehensive evidence-based information. Work is currently underway to review the Integrated Plan of Action, taking into consideration lessons that have been learned and recommendations from the diagnostic review that was done. As part of a broader campaign to empower adolescent girls and young women, the She Conquers campaign works to reduce new HIV infections. It also focuses on teenage pregnancies, school dropout rates, and sexual and gender-based violence. Government has also launched the National Dialogues on Violence Against Women, which are a mode of engagement with communities to find the reason for violence against women and children and develop common solutions. The respective ministers in the executive have reported to this House on progress made in our programs to address violence against women and children. These engagements with the National Assembly have helped to inform the conceptualization of some of these programs, as well as the campaigns. The struggle against violence against women cannot be left to government alone, or indeed to the public representatives that are in this House. It must be embraced by all South Africans, men in particular, to ensure that we act decisively to end this scourge of violence against women and children. I thank you.
The Honourable Van der Merwe.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker, and thank you very much to the Deputy President, and I really appreciate your answer. But Deputy President, as things stand at the moment, there is really no political will to address gender-based violence, and I'll give you examples why. In 2012, President Zuma launched the National Council Against Gender-Based Violence, but then afforded it no funding, so it was scrapped. Now we've got government's integrated plan of action to fight gender-based violence, and again, no resources was allocated to it, wasn't costed, and so it's achieved no success. And clearly, government is not serious about funding gender-based or fighting gender-based violence if you do not fund your noble intentions. And in fact, this means that government is all talk and no action, and this is simply not good enough. In the meantime, too many lives are lost. Women who go to police stations are turned away, and in general, the system is failing our women. So the part of my question was, can you list some of the successes? And clearly, there are no successes to list. So yes, Deputy President, important for our communities to rise up, for our boys and our men to rise up and fight back, but they cannot do so if our government is not leading by example. So my question to you, Deputy President, as leader of government business, what will you be doing to hold to account ministers who are failing our women and our children? And I think we need to start with the Minister of Social Development. And finally, it's very clear that this fight needs political will, it needs political leadership, and it needs resources. And can you give us the undertaking, because we know we won't be getting that from President Zuma, that you will take the lead in this fight, and that our cabinet will declare the onslaught against women and children a national crisis, and that you will finally give it the resources and attention it requires. I thank you.
Honorable Deputy President.
Honorable van der Merwe, you'll be pleased to know that the cabinet has been at work addressing this matter and has spent a considerable amount of time, and ministers through an IMC have also been engaged in finding solutions, embarking on actions that are going to reduce violence against women and children. Now, clearly, you are coming up with really laudable proposals. Political leadership is necessary. I could not fault you on that, and I would agree with you completely. Funding is also necessary. I will not fault you on that, and I agree with you completely. Now, clearly, much as we are acting under very difficult economic constraints at the moment, this fight against violence is a fight that we must fund. We must find money for it and make sure that it is properly funded. But at the same time, the work that we do to execute this will and this resolve that we have is done through a plethora of government departments. For instance, the South African Police Service, they do it on a dedicated basis, and they are rolling out offices in various police stations, which are going to make it much more conducive for victims of violence to be able to be properly counseled, to be properly cared for, and given the dignity that they deserve. Now, that is being done through the SAPS budget. Similarly, social welfare also has a budget dedicated to caring for victims of violence, and indeed the Ministry of Women, and throughout the various departments of government, the work is getting done. Now, clearly, we need to double or redouble our resolve. We need to strengthen the various interventions that we are making, and this has been made very, very clear. I belong to the governing party. The governing party itself has taken this up as a major campaign, and it is in the process of rolling it out throughout the country. And this campaign, in the end, should know no party affiliation. It should run right across various parties, and all of us should engage in it. And as we engage in it, we should be working alongside government and insisting that government should strengthen its own interventions. Where interventions are weak, we should be speaking out and say, we would like you to strengthen this part and this part. So you and I are completely ad idem on this. We will want to lead this campaign with great determination and with strength, and I'm glad to hear that you and a number of people in your party are going to be part of this campaign going forward. So I thank you dearly. Thank you very much.
The Honorable Mente.